Hey everyone, Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com, DevOps TV, and we're here at IBM InterConnect 2017 on the exhibit floor, and I'm happy to be joined by my friend Michael Azoff from Ovum, who Michael and I just came off a panel where we spoke about DevOps. It takes a village. Michael, welcome.
Thanks very much, Alan. I'm very pleased to be chatting with you again. And if you've don't know who we are, I'm a principal analyst at Ovum, and I just want to make a correction to the last video I did with Alan, where I said we're fourth or fifth in size in the world as an IT industry analyst firm, but we're number one in value. So I just wanted to make that correction.
Fantastic, Michael. I'm glad. Yeah, I remember you saying that, saying, why would he say that? But anyway, Michael, we had a great panel on DevOps. It takes a village, and we talked about how in these DevOps transformations, you see sort of layers. You know, you have your utility layer, if you will, infrastructure layer, physical infrastructure, then you have people, and then you have the sort of infrastructure of people, of their culture, of their interactions, and how overlaying all of that is perhaps a methodology, if you will, of how all of this interaction takes place. And we really, it was a great conversation. We had yourself and a fellow from GitHub, and then of course Dave Lindquist from IBM. But we really started talking about principles and roles and stuff like that. And I know that's something you guys are delving deeper into at Ovum.
Very much so. So we're getting a lot of questions from our clients asking us, how do we structure, how do we organize a DevOps organization company? And one model that keeps coming up is the Spotify matrix model. Yep. And beyond that. So we see how to implement a matrix model within a hybrid environment, because there's a lot of DevOps that is still applied to legacy systems as well. And it's quite interesting that this multi-speed approach is very much the case with large organizations. So not everyone is cloud native and doing DevOps from day one throughout. So those are interesting challenges. So the matrix model, it's where you have dedicated DevOps teams, but running horizontally, you have the specialist practices. And one pattern that we've seen that Spotify talked about is the release train approach, where you have a dedicated DevOps team to support releases, milestones, and dependencies. So that's quite an interesting approach as well. But yeah, it's very much about community, very much about culture. And we talked about how tools today are so pivotal to making possible cloud native approaches. Yeah. But really, culture it should be the starting point.
Yeah, and that was kind of what came out at our session today. It was about culture. It was about community. You mentioned another term, Michael, and that's cloud native, and that's something we've been hearing a lot here at InterConnect 2017 this year, and it's something we hear a lot at DevOps.com, and this idea of not necessarily for unicorns, right? I think at one point when we talked about cloud native, you were talking about unicorns.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
The Googles and the Facebooks and Twitters of the world. Yeah. But really, when we talk about cloud native today, we're not necessarily talking about organizations that are cloud native as much as we're talking about tools, processes, and ways of doing things.
Absolutely. So the cloud native paradigm is really something that is emerging from these unicorns, and they are creating tremendous pressure in the market. So larger established organizations need to compete with these more flexible, faster startups. And the cloud native paradigm is really, we see that as the next stage after DevOps, because what cloud native introduces is microservices, containers, serverless computing, and then everything as a service on the cloud. So that whole paradigm, which you can apply in multiple ways within a larger organization, and we see more take up of that approach. We had the Royal Bank, chairman of the Royal Bank of Canada, talking about cloud native architectures on the keynote. Mm-hmm. So it is very much of the moment, and we see it emerging, and we think we will definitely see that as a beyond DevOps.
Absolutely. So I don't know if it's beyond DevOps or built on
Yeah,
DevOps,
built on
right?
DevOps for
Because
sure.
and that's one thing, Michael, and you and I have both been in the business a long time. Is you don't see revolution in our business as much as we see change.
Yes,
You see evolution,
true.
and things are built upon what comes before that.
Yes,
You couldn't have DevOps today without having Agile before
exactly,
that.
exactly.
You can't have cloud native tomorrow without having DevOps today, and
Yes.
so on. So there is this progression.
It is a progression. I think DevOps is actually pushing cloud native on the agenda
Hmm.
because you have a situation where you've created an agile development team. You've now brought in ops, so you've got DevOps, and you're able to push into production at a very fast pace. But now your architectures, they're monoliths. They're very slow. They're
Hmm.
slow to change. So what is the ideal architecture for a DevOps capable organization? So you can benefit from those fast, rapid releases into production. And so DevOps is actually driving cloud native. It's driving microservice architectures.
Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. Michael, so give us our audience a little preview. What kind of research coming down the pike at Ovum can we expect to see soon?
Well, across the whole spectrum of DevOps. So last year we saw DevOps as being mainstream, and we get a lot of queries as to how to promote and make the organization understand the importance of DevOps. There are still challenges. For DevOps to succeed, we believe that you really need to get the top of the organization to support a DevOps transformation. Throughout the organization, you need HR, you need legal, you need finance. They all need to support DevOps in order for DevOps truly to succeed. So we get asked to provide ammunition to the IT people where they then need to get the CEO on board, and then we
Hmm.
help them present the argument. So that's one role that analysts like us
Sure.
can do. Um, and then so you have that, and then you have the questions of the structure and the roles, and we see the Spotify matrix model as being a really interesting one and variations of it, and how you implement it in a hybrid environment. So those are the sort of other questions that we get. How do you use DevOps in a supply chain and suppliers and partners, and offshoring? So that's another interesting
Yeah.
conversation. And then of course the cloud native, which is really exciting, and that's really where the future is. And so we see a lot of evolution, and we see at this event at IBM InterConnect, we see a lot of breakout sessions talking about it. And so I know that there's a lot of work being done here, but I expect we'll see a lot more high-level messaging on cloud native in the years ahead.
Oh, I
Yeah,
believe so. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
just going to be more the way things are done. The
yes,
same way DevOps is the way things are done now.
yes.
Michael, I thought you mentioned in our panel that you guys have done sort of a research project on that Spotify model.
Yeah, so there's a paper, if you go to ovum.com, it's our free marketing website, and there's a paper on there that you can read about our discussion of the Spotify matrix model. And also to say the Spotify matrix model was written by Spotify, and it's available on the internet. So
As well.
yeah, so Google
But it
it.
would be good to get your
Yeah, yeah,
analysis
yeah,
on it
yeah,
as
for
well.
sure.
Well, Michael, it was a pleasure having you
All
on
right,
the panel
my
again
pleasure
this
as
year. It's
well.
a
Thanks,
pleasure
Alan.
having you here, and maybe we'll see you next time we're in London.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alan.
Okay. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com and DevOps TV at InterConnect 2017.